Greetings, Richard Fulmer here, and welcome to another edition of Richard's Rock Rambles, the channel where we have a look at all things related to rock, whether it be prog, classic rock, maybe some blues, and notable bands and notable artists. So today we're going to take a look at a great English rock band by the name of Wishbone Ash. Still going today, started in 1969. So they've been around for a while. I have been lucky enough to catch these guys 3 times here in Cape Town, and an excellent live band. And no matter who's been in the band, because they've had a few lineup changes over the years, as far as the second guitarist goes, they always deliver. The only original guy left is Andy Powell on vocals and guitar. But let's take a look and see how they evolved. So they were formed in Torquay in Devon in 1969, as I said. So the original lineup was Martin Turner on bass, vocals, and keyboards. Then you had Andy Powell on guitar and vocals, Ted Turner on guitar, vocals, and banjo. That's Martin Turner's brother. And the original drummer was a guy by the name of Steve Upton. So this lineup were together, I think, for about the first 3 or 4, maybe 5 albums. And they laid the foundation for Wishbone Ash. And a lot of the hits from that early period are still played today when the guys play live. So as I said, they're still going. The current lineup is Andy Powell on guitar and vocals, the only original guy left. Bob Skeet on bass and backing vocals, and he's been with them since 1997. A great bass player, really locked in with a drummer. And the drummer is one Joe Crabtree, and he's been with him since 2007. And then you've got a new guy. The newest guy in the band is Mark Abrahams, and he's been with him from 2017. I saw this lineup the last time they were here. Excellent. Really, they play all the classics well. Plus, they've got a fairly new album out, and they do a lot of the newer stuff too. Just a great band to see. And the rapport with the audience is also good. Andy Powell's very good with that. You know, he speaks to the guys in the crowd. It's the kind of band actually that works in a smaller setting as opposed to a massive arena. So you can really hear each guitar and the twin guitar harmonies, etc. And that was the thing that set Wishbone Ash apart from everybody else right in the beginning, is they sort of pioneered that whole twin guitar harmony thing, which was then taken further by bands like Thin Lizzy, and to a heavier extent, Judas Priest and Iron Maiden. But they were the band that really started that ball rolling. Just some beautiful guitar pieces that they had together in their albums, which I'll go through just now. And they set the tone for that sort of style. They have had other notable members over the years. A guy by the name of Laurie Wisefield on guitar and vocals. And he was with them from 1974 to 1985. Great guitarist as well, also really good singer. And then for one album, Number the Brave, in 1981, they had none other than John Whitton. John Whitton has played with everybody. King Crimson, he's played with Uriah Heep, he plays with Wishbone Ash, he played with Asia. So yeah, sadly no longer with us, but a really great bassist and singer. And then there's been a bit of contention within the band over the past 10, 20 years. Martin Turner left the band, not on good terms with Andy Powell, formed his own band called Martin Turner's Wishbone Ash. Yeah, bit of squabble about the name, etc. But he seems to be carrying on with his own band, and I think they've sorted things out in the courts and what have you. So altogether, there have been 24 studio albums and 12 live albums. And there are also some great DVDs. There's a live 30th anniversary concert from Shepherd's Bush Empire in the UK, and that was from April 2000. And I think it's at that concert, or either the 40th anniversary concert, which was another one, where they get some of the old members to come back on stage, like Laurie Wisefield and the original guitarist Ted Turner. He comes back on stage, and it's nice to see. There's no animosity. The guys, they still get on together, and they do a couple of the old tracks, which is really cool. There's also a really nice DVD called Live in Paris, and the one that I really enjoy, although the picture quality is not great, you can catch it on YouTube. It's live at Rockpalast in Germany in 1976. So there you've got the original, and that's with Laurie Wisefield when he just soon after he joined them, and a great concert. And I think that was just at the advent of punk. So you can see with Martin Turner, with the stuff that he's wearing, they were trying a different tack, different look from the early days where they had their sort of flowing robes and what have you in the early 70s. I don't have all the albums. There's a lot of albums, as I said. There's like 24 studio albums. I don't have all of them, but I have the notable ones, I think. The other ones that are notable that I don't have is their debut album, Wishbone Ash. Great album. New England from 1976. Bare Bones, which is an acoustic album. They took all the hits and they re-recorded them in an acoustic fashion. And then the most recent from last year, Coat of Arms, a really strong return. And as I said, with the most recent lineup, great album. There's also a really good book that you guys must look out for by Andy Powell. It's called Eyes Wide Open, True Tales of a Wishbone Ash Warrior, and that was published in 2015. So let's have a look at what I have to show you. We're going to start off with their second album called Pilgrimage. And this is the one, apart from the debut, which I was thinking 1 or 2 hits, this is the one that really set them on their path. Jailbait was a big hit off here. The Pilgrim, that's a great, long, epic track with some incredible guitar work from both Powell and Ted Turner. Lullaby, Valediction, and Where Were You Tomorrow. The first track, Was Dis, has got almost like a jazzy feel to it. There's a lot of scat singing in the beginning, along with the guitar. So it's not really proper singing, but it's done in such a way that it's a great opener and shows you what these guys were capable of. So here on the vinyl, you have a couple of shots of the guys in the band in the early days. And this would set them on their path. So Andy Powell, guitar vocals, Ted Turner, guitar vocals, Martin Turner, bass vocals, and Steve Upton, drums. Recorded at Delaney Lee Studios, London, May 1971. Brilliant album. I really like that cover as well. So then we move on to possibly their biggest album, their biggest hit album, and I think the one that most people know, iconic cover as well. I'm talking about Wishbone Ash, Argus. Trust me, there is not a bad track on this album. I actually listened to this again last night just to refresh my memory. It's beautiful. That's one of the words I can use to describe this album. There's a lot of sort of epic sword and sorcery kind of vibe to it, very old England. It's hard to describe, put it in a particular style, but that's the closest I can come to it. And the lyrics and everything on this album are just amazing. Time Was, Sometime World, Blowing Free, brilliant track. Great guitar harmonies. The King Will Come, Leaf and Stream, Warrior, and Throw Down the Sword. And this particular version has got a Live from Memphis promotional EP, which is a bonus on here, which is really cool. And you can hear them the early days, how good they were live. They played Jailbait, The Pilgrim, and Phoenix on here. And to this day, I reckon they play at least 3 or 4 tracks from this album. They have to play live, like The Warrior, Throw Down the Sword, The King Will Come. Those are the real classics from this band. And as I said, they still play them. Yeah, the guys there. I think in those days, Andy Powell still had hair. I think he's totally bald now. Bald with glasses. Yeah, time is not always kind to you when you're a rock star. So that was Argus. As I say, possibly their biggest selling album, and one that if you want to jump into Wishbone Ash, start with Argus. You can't go wrong. Then we move on to Wishbone Ash, Wishbone 4. That's the next one I have. That's that one there. You can see the guys. That's Martin Turner, Ted Turner, Steve Upton, and there's Andy Powell, as I said, still with hair and glasses. This album is a bit more, not as strong as Argus. It's a bit more commercial. throughout their career, there have been a few hit and miss albums, and this is definitely one of them. I don't reach for this too often. Trying to find a good track on your Ballad of the Beacon, Doctor, Rock and Roll Widow, and that's really about the best tracks on here. And this was released in 1973. So that's Wishbone 4. It's okay, but it's not one of their stronger albums. Then we get to a live album, which is a classic, and one that you really have to check out. And it's called Wishbone Ash Double Album Live Dates. And that's the back. So this would be them playing all their early hits. Let's see if I can show you the inside. There we go. There are the guys on stage. So what do they play on here? The King Will Come from August, Warrior from August, Throw Down the Sword from August, Rock and Roll Widow, Ballad of the Beacon, Baby What You Want Me to Do, The Pilgrim, that was from Pilgrimage, Blowing Free, Jailbait, Lady Whiskey, and Phoenix. Excellent live album. As I said, great rapport with the audience even back in those days, and a live album that's really worth getting. Then we go to an album called There's the Rub. The cricket ball there, strategically placed. And this would be the first album to feature Laurie Wisefield, the guy that I mentioned before. He came from a band called Home in England. Great singer, great guitarist. I think he played a Strat. On that live in Germany, Rockpalast, you get to see how good he is. And there's two standout tracks on here for me. Persephone, which is a beautiful track. Great lyrics, great guitar work. More of a mellow track, but excellent. And there's a track called FUBB, which actually stands for Fucked Up Beyond Belief. So something must have happened to them for them to get to write that particular track. Something bad must have happened. That's more of an instrumental. Some great bass work from Martin Turner on that track. Excellent. And this was recorded at the Criteria Recording Studios in Miami, Florida. So they've been around recording in different places. Really cool album. That's the back cover. I don't think you can really see those guys there. Very small photograph. So that's another cool album. And the next one I have is called Locked In. And this was from 1976. That's the album there. Also not a really strong album. Same lineup, Andy Powell, Laurie Wisefield, Martin Turner, and Steve Upton still in the band. There's, I don't know, Trust in You, Half Past Loving. It's a very weak album. I mean, some of the songs are sort of throwaway almost. And I don't know, this album just doesn't appeal to me. I don't know, sometimes with bands when you have really great early albums, to follow it up is not always easy. And you also have to try and cater for the changing tastes in music. 76, obviously, that was the onset of punk. And a lot of these kind of bands were taking strain because they had to sort of adapt. And some of them did it well and some not so well. So this one's not that great. Then I move on to 1977 and the album Front Page News. There we go. There's Laurie Wisefield there. Also similar to the one I just spoken about, Locked In. It's okay. Front Page News, the first track's good. Midnight Dancer, Right or Wrong, Heartbeat, and Diamond Jack, I think, are probably the best tracks. Still the same lineup. It's okay. That's the back picture there. I think the sort of mid to late 70s was a bit iffy for the band. And this album I really enjoy, the one with John Whitton, the one and only album he plays and sings on. And this one's called Number the Brave. Number the Brave, the title track's cool. Roller Coaster, that's a nice up-tempo track. Where is the Love? Get Ready, that's a cool track. Open Road. And you also have a lady by the name of Claire Hamill, who does backing vocals on here. She's very good as well. Nice album. And I think this was in the early 80s. 1981. Yeah. Also the drum sound you can hear, the 80s drum sound, but different to the 70s. I'm not a fan of the 80s drum sounds on any band. So that was Number the Brave. Then we move, I've got one which is a 2 CD set, Wishbone Ash, and this features a live album and an album called Illuminations. So I don't actually have the proper Illuminations cover. It's just a, you can see that's the live album and that's Illuminations. And on Illuminations there's a beautiful track, probably the best track on the album, called Top of the World. And some great playing from Andy Powell on there. That's one of my favorite tracks of theirs. The rest of the album's not bad. Comfort Zone, Mystery Man, and On Your Own. And then the live album, they've got some of the early hits as well. The Wings, Leaf and Stream, Throw Down the Sword, Phoenix, Fub, that one I spoke about earlier. And yeah, so that live album was from 1999, and the studio is from 1996. I must actually one day get the proper cover of Illuminations. And the last one I have to show you that I have, as I said, I don't have all the albums, there's too many to collect. It's a process. This album is called Bonafide. Not the best cover in the world. A great album though, really strong, great guitar work, a different lineup again. Andy Powell, as I said, has always been there. Almighty Blues, Enigma, Faith, Hope and Love, Ancient Remedy, Changing Tracks, Shoulda, Woulda, Coulda, that's a really cool track as well. The title track, Difference in Time, Come Rain, Come Shine, and the last track, Peace. It's a good album, very strong. Great production as well. So that's the last one that I have to show you. I really need to get the rest of their stuff. Some from the 70s, the 80s, and 90s. As I said, some of the albums are a bit hit and miss. You know, with a huge catalogue like that, a large discography, along the way you're going to have albums that are strong and some that are not so strong. That's just the way it goes. So there we go, Wishbone Ash, iconic British band. As I said, started that whole twin guitar thing, and a really great live band as well. Really glad to have seen them as 3 times now. So hopefully they'll come back here again because they seem to like the country. So next time, guys, I'm going to be chatting about another English band. Also been going for a long, long time. Still going. Actually recently released an album. And that'll be The Strawbs, or just Strawbs. So please, if you like this video, down below, just give me a thumbs up. Any comments are welcome. And subscribe if you haven't. Take it easy out there. It's a beautiful day here in Cape Town. It's still pretty cold here though. August, the winter's coming to the tail end. So roll on spring. I'll catch you guys soon. Cheers.